guys, it's Vertical Fish here again. This is a follow-up to the lightning brush tutorial. I actually did that video tutorial for the purpose of including it in a larger tutorial called the advanced blur tutorial, and that's what we're going to focus on right now. But first I'd like to show you a few applications of the lightning brush, so we're just going to open a new document. Alright, so this is basically what you can use the lightning brush for. The most basic use is probably going to be, well, to make lightning. So basically what you want to do is create a new layer, fill that layer with black. Right now it's my background color, so I have to press Control Backspace. Press B to get your brush tool, right click, and select the brush you just made. Alright. I have the color white selected, so let's see here. You want to make a new layer, so I have a layer that's filled with black. You want to make a new layer on top of that, and then hit that brush down, and there you go. This is kind of the same as what it looked like in the last tutorial, but what you want to do here is right click on your layer, go to blending options, go to outer glow, click that box, put the opacity all the way up, change the color to black. I do comics in black and white, so I would change the color to white. I don't want any yellow in there. And then most importantly, you can change the size of the glow. See how that alters the glow. If you put the spread up too high, it just looks kind of gross. But yeah. This is pretty useful if you want to make lightning for a background where, I don't know, a character in your comic is using a lightning attack, or somebody's getting electrocuted or something. Or it's also useful for those, shock and awe scenes, Alright, so that's your basic use of the lightning brush. I'm going to delete these layers, and well, I'll keep this one. I'll show you another use of the lightning brush. I use it whenever I'm making an advanced blur. And I call it an advanced blur because it took me a while to figure out how to do that. The first kind of blur that I use, and if you read like TSB or any of my other comics, the ones that I've drawn, way back, years back, then you'll know that I've used this technique a lot. So what you do is you go to filter. Once you've got a layer that's full of black or white, doesn't matter which, you go to filter, render difference clouds, and I'll do this part pretty fast. So what you got to do is Control F to do it again, Control I to invert it, Control L to change the levels around. You want to go about there. This is what I used to do, and then filter, blur, radial blur, change the amount to about 30, blur method to zoom, and that'll give you kind of like a zooming effect. It's useful if you're too lazy to draw action lines, but I think it can also, in some certain circumstances, can produce an effect that has more depth than the run-of-the-mill action lines you see in shonen action scenes all the time. But you see, there are areas of black space in there, and it's not exactly that detailed, so I'm going to take it back a little bit. I'm just pressing Control-Alt-Z. That's going to undo my actions, and I want to go to here, or maybe here. Yeah. So what I'm going to do the levels a little differently here. I'm going to make the image so that there's actually islands of black and white. So maybe the black and white ratio is just about 1:1, just as much black as there is white in the image. And you can alter this however much you want. You'll end up with a different result. It's pretty amazing how many different results you can end up with this technique. For example, if you err on the side of having more darkness in the image, or if you err on the side of having more light in the image, then you'll get a different result. But for now, we'll just go with this. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take your lightning brush, and have it on white, and then just kind of draw over the areas of black. See how they're getting kind of broken up now? It looks kind of like fractured. When you blur that, that looks pretty epic. You can also invert it, play around with the levels until you get something that you like. Now it kind of looks like a weird. I have no idea even what that looks like. But yeah, and even now you can still experiment with it. Change your brush to black and brush over it again and blur it again, and it looks pretty crazy. Yeah, so once you're satisfied with what it looks like, if you want to add color into it, yeah, I usually do black and white comics, but if you want to add color, press Control B. That'll bring up the color balance editor, and then just kind of fool around with whatever you want. I'm going to make this one look kind of like an explosion, like fiery. Yeah, there you go. And there you have it. For more on this and other tutorials, check out my DeviantArt page. It's verticalfish.deviantart.com. Thanks for the view, and have a nice day.